is very excited to offer this new amenity to the community. This is our second disc golf course. It's called the Aviary. You can see a map of the new facility right here. This was a really great partnership that brought this course on board, and it's really a result of a very dedicated user group, the Pikes Peak Flying Disc Golf Club, as well as other integral partners whose efforts serve to turn around this previously unused swath of land into a really wonderful recreational amenity. So here to tell you today about how this project came about is David Diedemeyer, our park planner.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming out today. It's very exciting to finally get to open up the aviary for official use. The project itself goes back quite a few years. I'd like to look back to the late 1990s when Cottonwood Creek Disc Golf Course was opened up. About 20 years ago, the first disc golf course in Colorado Springs opened, and in those 20 years, that was the only one in our park system. So it's really been a long time in the making to make this happen. From extensive use at Cottonwood and just increased popularity in disc golf, the Pikes Peak Flying Disc Golf Club came to us and said, we really want to expand the use and expand our facilities in the park system. So a couple of years ago, we began an extensive analysis of all the park property to find the best suitable locations for disc golf. This was one of the sites that came to the top of the list and offers a very unique and interesting playability aspect of the course. There's Fountain Creek, which provides a great water amenity. There's the great views and vantage points from this ridge top here, and we've got a really unique riparian corridor. I should say that the name the Aviary comes really from two different aspects. One is kind of the allure of a golfer. When they try to play, they shoot for birdies and eagles to lower their score. The other aspect that's really unique to this site is the location has an abundant supply of avian species. So when we did our bird survey with our wildlife biologist, they found that this was one of the most unique locations that they've come across in the city for a diverse and variety of avian species. There was also a hawk nest discovered during that back in April when we began construction, and that nest actually delayed the project a couple months while the young had a chance to learn how to fly and use the area. So we created a buffer around it and held off on those holes until the course could actually be completed just a couple weeks ago. Once the young fledged, we finished the course off and are here today to officially welcome it as the second disc golf course in the city of Colorado Springs. The project itself really could not have happened without our great sponsors, and most notably the Pikes Peak Flying Disc Golf Club. So at the moment, I'd like to welcome up Eric Bouchard from the club to say a few words and just thank him for all the wonderful leadership and work that they've done on this project. So, thank you, Eric.
Thank you. I'm Eric Bouchard. I'm with the Pikes Peak Flying Disc Club. We've been working on this course for probably, I think it's been 3 years now since we started. The city came to us. I'd like to thank some people personally. If it wasn't for Michael Schutte, the ex-president, we wouldn't be here today. He really spearheaded this and got it moving. Nate Winfield, Raymond Carr is probably the head designer of this course. He's put in a tremendous amount of work. I project managed it when we were getting in the final stage, but it's really mostly his vision. Nick Kittle was an ex-Parks and Rec guy, great guy. Now for the city involvement, David, of course, Chris Lever, Sarah Breyer, right? Brierly?
Yeah.
And then Tila. And then the Parks Board, who's been with us this whole time. D, if it wasn't for D, this course wouldn't look nearly as good as it is. I mean, if you guys need to volunteer, Keep Colorado Springs Beautiful has done amazing. They brought a 30-yard dumpster out here and filled it with garbage that the transient population had left down there for time unknown. The Colorado Springs Police Department, if it wasn't for them, this trail wouldn't be here. Their property did extend all the way to the cliff. You know, they made this course possible. Actually, everybody involved has came together for this course. And the people that are continuing, that have adopted this course, Eric Pierce, Lloyd back there, Jeffrey Bradshaw, they've all been, Brendan back there, they've all been willing to kick in the time when we're putting it together. So it's really been a really good community builder for all of us. Now in the future, we're talking a new course in Rampart, so we'll be doing this again hopefully hopefully in October when we get it all in. We'll have another course and we'll be doing this all again, and the handshaking. The Pikes Peak has worked really well with getting with all of the community people, and it's come together nicely, and we'd like to continue that relationship going into the future. So there's a disc that's floating around, and if everybody here could sign that. In disc golf, we have a tradition that if somebody gets an ace, everybody involved signs the disc of that person. So today I'd like everybody involved to be sure to sign that disc so we can give it to the parks department so they can put it on the wall, because really this course turned out to be an ace for the whole community and everybody involved. I know it brings use to this area that it otherwise didn't have. So thank you guys for everything that you've done, and we look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you, David.
Thanks,
Eric. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Mayor Suthers.
Thank you all for coming out today to support a wonderful new amenity for our disc golfers and the Colorado Springs community. We're excited to expand this sport in Colorado Springs and open this second public disc golf course. And thank you, Eric, to the Pikes Peak Flying Disc Club for spearheading this effort and supporting the construction of the club. Now, I have a feeling there's a group of disc golf players here. I want to let you know that the mayor of Colorado Springs is going to ask a special favor of you. You know, all the folks in Pueblo have been complaining about the amount of water that comes down Fountain Creek. I'm going to ask that you limit the number of discs coming down Fountain Creek, okay? Eric promises me they sink pretty quickly, but I just don't want to hear from the Pueblo City Council about all the discs floating down Fountain Creek. Our city is tremendously lucky to have immensely dedicated and generous partners, as evidenced by this successful project. Parks has so many successful projects that require just a broad spectrum of participation of folks in our community. I want to thank Keep Colorado Springs Beautiful, as acknowledged before. Your Earth Day workday removed a significant amount of trash from this site. Thanks to Tony Boone for discounting your services to build the access trail. Thanks to you, Chief, and the Police Department and Alpamar Youth Sports for working with the Parks Department to provide the necessary recreational access. The city truly appreciates all your efforts and your support for the growing sport that encourages people to get outside and play. And after all, that's what we're all about in Colorado Springs, making ourselves a great place to live, work, and play. Thank you very much.
Mayor, if you could stand up here, David, we're going to do our awards, and David will hand you them as we announce. So, really, this recognizes the wonderful partnerships and everybody who contributed, and we truly thank you. I mean, without this site wouldn't be possible, and all of your unique skills came into play during this project. First, Eric Bouchard, Nate Winfield, Raymond Carr, and the Pikes Peak Flying Disc Golf Club. If you could please come on up. Thank you. So,
Congratulations and thank you very much. Nate, is your Nate? Okay.
And Raymond?
Thank you, guys.
and then
And Eric, on behalf of the Parks Department to the club.
Let's turn around and get a picture here.
So these individuals, in conjunction with other club members, spearheaded the effort for additional golf courses in the city. They assisted with planning the course layout, arranging for site preparation and cleanup, and leading teams of volunteers on a Spruce Up the Springs volunteer workday to establish the site. The club also privately paid for the disc golf baskets and arranged for the basket installation. Thank you so much for all of your hard work out here. Next, we would like to thank Joe Curo from the Colorado Springs Police Department.
Joe, thanks a lot. Let's just pose.
Thank you. Joe, thank you very much.
Thank you.
As Eric had mentioned, the Colorado Springs Police Department provided an easement on their property, which is the property right here, to allow for recreational access. We're extremely grateful for their support and for making this course possible. Next, we'd like to thank Dee Cunningham with Keep Colorado Springs Beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Keep Colorado Springs Beautiful arranged for a Great American Cleanup Volunteer Workday to remove trash and debris from the site. Their workday filled a large roll-off, and I mean a very large roll-off to the brim. Dee assured me she could not fit one more ounce of trash before that thing would explode. They found several abandoned homeless camps and dump sites where people had illegally disposed of household items, including a fish tank, tires, mattresses, carpets, and I'm sure a whole lot more Dee would be able to share with you about what she found out here that day. But really, without her crew, as Eric said, this would not have been possible. There was so much that needed to be done, and Dee really knows how to rally people around a cleanup, and we're really appreciative of your efforts out there that day, Dee. Finally, we'd like to thank Vicki Martin with El Pomar Youth Sports. El Pomar Youth Sports allowed for course users to park on their property, which is right across the waterway right there, so that they can start on hole 1 that starts at the bridge. And again, thank you for your access and accommodation for the users of this facility. We truly appreciate it. Thank you to all the partners. Your support, expertise, and commitment made this project possible. And thanks to you, our community has a wonderful new recreational amenity. So, to dedicate this site, we'd like for all the representatives of the various groups that we mentioned to come up and join us in throwing out an inaugural disc onto the new course.
All right, show us how it's done.
The inaugural throw after we got it.
Whoa!
Good
Good job! That was good. That's because I like the water.
What out there? Wing it, Joe.
Go, Joe, go.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's coming back.
Oh,
it's coming back.
We always do.
There you go.
That's great.
Oh, all right.
With that 98 pounds behind it, Vicky.
There you go.